The only type of all-ins we have are proxy barracks and, you know, pull your SCVs, or just that mid-game pull your SCV pull attack.
We're going to heavy rain. That's Maru's pick. That's his solution to beat Deer and at least last into game number 3.
He already won a map against Zest here, and I feel like he's just trying to bait maybe Deer into going Blink Stalkers because Maru is just so good at defending those, and it's so tempting to Blink Stalker on this map.
I don't know if Deer will, though.
It's not really Deer's style.
I don't even know if, I'm wondering if Maru might do some kind of cheese again. He's been cheesing a lot, and I can't really blame him. He is Terran after all.
Well, it's a 2-player map, so a good map for proxies. Rush distance is pretty short. Could be what we see here, Tasteless.
Man.
This is tense. Deer, somebody I did not expect to play as well as he is today. Really surprising me. It is definitely turned on the heat after his performance in the round of 32.
The heat is on. Bring a swimsuit. Oh, I'm sorry, Wolf. It was terrible. That was just terrible. All right, guys. Game number 2 here between Maru and Deer. The winner goes on to the round of 8.
2014 Hot 6 GSL Season 1 Round 16. Maru versus Deer.
Maru just in his monitor there for a second. All right, Depot in the main, which is pretty standard even if you do proxy, but I'm just
it doesn't look like he's going to proxy here at all.
Doesn't look like it. He hasn't sent anything.
So we've seen a lot of good players go for the Blink Stalker on this map. And the thing is, it's not an all-in, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's like a contained build that while the Terran has to put up the go through the necessary measures to survive it. With they have to make those bunkers and get defense. Sometimes we see Widow Mines used. Meanwhile, the Protoss has more options to get ahead.
Yeah, get a third base, get additional tech. You know, in the case that we saw it on the last time on this map, he gets charge zealots out, Archons, cuts probes for a little bit. Looked like he might have wanted to hit a timing. So Maru is so good against that type of play. This is something Deer's probably studied as well. He's probably watched a lot of Maru's Pro League games against Protoss.
Sure.
And he's probably also thinking, like, in general, I'm not really the type of person to do Blink Stalkers. That's not really what I'm good at, so I'm probably not going to do that here. And it's Maru's map pick, too. Why do a build like that on your opponent's map pick where he's likely to be prepared for it? I think we're going to see it.
Though. I mean, it is still pretty strong. He might just, go for it anyways. I don't know.
It would be surprising, so it could catch Maru off guard. It's surprising in some sense. It's surprising in the sense that Deer doesn't do builds like this often, but predictable in the sense that this map is where we see this type of build a lot. This one in Yunsu especially.
So the Cybernetic score is about halfway done. The Orbital almost finishing here for Maru.
Yeah.
I do like how we've got a lot of new maps for this season of Code S.
Yeah, it's a great map pool, one of my favorite ones.
I hope we actually have another great rotation in the next season of Code S as well.
I really like Habitation Station.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I'm glad they're actually doing stuff like that. This is a cool move here by Maru. He's going to make an engineering bay because that way the Protoss can't make the Nexus he wants to make.
Yeah, and he doesn't see this. So if you don't see this as the Protoss, you don't make the Zealot. The Zealot is like so much better at dealing with this than the Stalker. The Stalker's late, and it doesn't kill the SCV very quickly.
Yeah, we see a lot of people just make the Zealot halfway, and then when they confirm that there's nothing there, they cancel it.
Yeah.
And, the Reaper's going to be here, so the Mothership Core can't really go down there and deal with this. And even if it's just the Mothership Core, if he gets a Stalker out, the Stalker really has to deal with the Reaper over the engineering bay. So...
And he doesn't even know about the eBay yet. He's going to send the probe down right now and see it and then be very annoyed. He's going to, God. And, it's almost fully completed.
Oh, he's actually going to get the Reaper over there to get the probe?
Yeah. He's going to get that probe, which will further delay the Nexus. Goodbye, Probey. And that Stalker just takes so long to kill the eBay. It fires so slowly.
God, this is painful.
He actually starts a Twilight Council.
You think there's a possibility that we're just going to see a complete deviation in what Deer does here?
Maybe.
I mean, he's just going to say, okay, well, this isn't viable anymore at all.
It's so scary to put that Twilight Council down, too, though, because the Reaper is going to come back into check, right? And he's going to see this. It's so hard to actually deny a town.
Maru's really got a great grasp of this map. Okay, so Protoss just goes for a Nexus.
But still, with the Nexus, a very fast Twilight Council. So Maru will have to be defensive. Oh, DTs.
Win behind Dark Shrine.
I talked about earlier, Maru does not really die to Protoss timings or Protoss tech builds, but DTs have given him a problem in the past because he oftentimes just will neglect to make turrets when he sees his Twilight Council because he just gets bunkers up instead. And we'll see how safe he plays this one. He's got the Reaper still alive. He might try to poke in there, but the Dark Shrine is well hidden. It's very far away. He might even fake, like, Chrono Boost the Twilight Council if the Reaper gets in. But since it's so low on health, he's not going to be able to come back for a really long time.
Well, Probe is now going to loop around here. Is he going to not? Nice. Okay, he's not going to get spotted because he's probably going to want to make a pylon up here to warp in some DTs.
Yeah.
He's holding my breath there for that Probe. And he's going to get a Robo, actually, out here. Now, he does see the... okay. You know, even though he doesn't see the Twilight... Or not the Dark Shrine, excuse me. I mean, this does probably arouse some suspicion, right?
Yeah,
he has basically no units, right? The Protoss doesn't.
Yeah.
And you already saw, you know, normally, okay, if they're going for Blink or something, you just see a large number of Stalkers, and you say, okay, all right, I know what's going on. Is he going to get a Warp Prism maybe with a Sentry or something?
I think
and then try to do a drop, one of these drops at the ramp where he can drop there, move in with DTs to one location, attack another. I mean,
Maru's read this well. I mean, he's just looking at this and saying, like, oh, do you have a Robo in Twilight Council? It's for DT drop. The Bane of Artosis. And
yes, the Artosis heal instead of the Achilles heal.
He's actually revealed here, kind of, but only when he's next to the turret. So he's.
Well, I think what he's trying to do is get him to burn scans.
Yeah, and he's even going to escape with that. Nicely done.
Wow. That was an impressive DT.
And now he can drop in the main. This is something Maru already expects. He sends his units up into the main base. Mm-hmm. And I think he has a turret up in there. He may have to use a scan.
Now here's the problem, though. All he has to do is get a force field on the ramp, and then as long as it's executed right, Deer can pick where he wants to fight. It looks like right now the main is just simply put not an option. I mean, this DT will come out, and then it'll be like, no, not so much.
Scan will just kill it. Oh my God, is he gonna?
Oh my God.
Oh, he didn't have enough energy for a scan even. Actually,
DT got cold feet.
Well,
okay, so you know what? He's actually just going to go back. He's decided that the DT harass is just not really going to work. You know, coming in there with a sentry and force fielding the ramp, anything like that, just not worth it. So he's going to go back here. This does allow Maru some freedom on the map. I don't believe he's going to attack into the Protoss anytime soon here, but we'll see. There are some holes in these DT rush builds where if the DTs don't do a lot of damage, there is a moment where Terran can just counter and kill you.
It's really cool that he only committed to one DT, though, and it did some damage and keeps it alive.
Unlike some people get like 6 DTs, like warping them in, trying to run in everywhere.
Sangho. Well, it's a really cool situation for him because he actually has his DT that kind of acts like an observer for right now until his observers start to spread out on the map. And the Dark Shrine's always going to be useful later against a player like Maru because you can actually use them to shut down drops.
That's true. The Dark Shrine is like the top of the pyramid when it comes to tech, which is why we normally see it so late. But in this case, and in a lot of cases, when you start to get behind, that's usually when a Dark Shrine is a pretty good choice.
Yeah. Dark Shrine or DTs will actually one-shot Marines without combat shield, which he doesn't have yet, but will have soon. And yeah, he's like, I don't think I want to come in here. I like how Deer is a player who will just look at a situation and be like, nah, it's better to not risk it. Just walk away. This is actually a pretty tough push to hold because combat shields are done.
Well, this is what I was talking about with, you know, there are timings after a DT opening that you can just go in there and punish the other player. Nice job with the force fields there.
Yeah, Nex is kind of making it very difficult. And there we go, drops a Zealot here. That's
nice, nice. So funny.
That was pretty nicely done.
I was like, well, if I save the Zealot, it's 100 minerals more efficient. I'm like, damn, dude. You almost lost your Warp Prism. But nice play there by Deer. He's solid.
No man gets left behind.
That's right.
I think he should be able to get this away. Barely. The new Warp Prism acceleration. So, upgrades are pretty sick for Deer. I mean, he's playing this really greedy behind the DTs. And that hole that you talked about, he kind of filled that with those force fields, that Colossus, the Nexus cannon.
Yeah. Well, it was nice, too, because he had the force field that forced a lot of the Marines up to the right. And then in the attack move, they were attacking the Nexus.
Yeah.
And you want to kill the Protoss army, obviously, first, then the Nexus later.
Yeah. I mean, upgrade-wise, this is becoming very quickly a horrible position for Maru. He might find himself a whole set of upgrades behind. This drop is already got units ready for it. I worry for Maru here. He might be able to force cancel on this third Nexus. That would be huge, and he has a large enough army to do so, and the rest of the Protoss army is a bit out of position here. He's going to go for it. Not complete yet. Scans, and I think he should be able to get this. He's got too much DPS here. If he gets a good angle, yeah.
Nice.
Stalkers try to punish, though.
Oh, my
and
God, he did not get that medevac. I can't believe that.
Well, he might still get it.
Yep.
He's actually just confident with his Stalkers. He's like, if you fight my Stalkers, my Colossi will just destroy you.
Yeah, they will punish you.
It will punish you.
It will hurt you. They will get out the paddle. Paddle that nerd on that on his tushy. That's what he will do, man. Now we have. I don't blame Maru for harassing here.
Oh.
But this is smart. He is going to get another cancel, or maybe even a shutdown. Okay, nicely done.
Yeah, cancels, kills the probe, which means the third base even later, while he's mining safely back at home without a care in the world with triple mule drops, and is actually ahead in harvesters plus mules, 57 to 51 right now. So the one thing that's really going for Deer, though, is the upgrades. Maru has not even yet started 2-2, and that's not good, especially because Chrono Boost lets you get 3-3 so quickly. Getting the Templar Archives out now as well to switch that tech. And Maru, has neither Vikings nor Ghosts. He's just sticking with pure Marauder, with a few Marines, of course, for support. This is what he's shown us in both series so far. He just goes mostly Marauder because they have more hit points. They can tank Storms better. They can fight Colossi if you can get past that Zealot wall. And if you're just kiting, if you have as good of micro as Maru does, then you do quite well against the Zealots.
It's interesting to see him do this, oftentimes more Marauder heavy play than some of these other players.
He's just going to get this again.
Is this going to just happen?
I think so.
Now this might be an overextension though, because that's actually, oh man.
Oh, but he's got a flank here. Nicely done. Where are the force fields? It doesn't look like he has any left. The Colossi here going down. All three of them, it looks like. That's very expensive for Deer to lose here.
But you know what? It also was not enough. Nice guns down that medevac. So Terran does still have a supply lead though, and you got to keep in mind, all the units for a Terran army like this are pretty basic. They're cheap. Marauders, Marines, medevacs. Obviously, if you lose all the medevacs, that's a disaster. But unlike for the Protoss, where, like, for instance, sentries, you lose those, it's very difficult to make them all again. He lost 3 Colossi. He has to start from ground zero.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually saying I think Maru over time might just be able to carve up the third base and actually probably get it removed.
Most people would say that
probably he might win this in a very similar game to our first best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, most people would argue that a bio army dealing with a Protoss army that has no AoE damage, whether it's Storm or Colossi, will always be the better composition. And Maru's control, coupled with that, is going to make this a very difficult defense. They're already kiting these Zealots so well. Again, better upgrades here for Deer, 2-2 versus 1-1, and he's brave enough to actually blink forward here. He's got a lot of range damage.
Those medevacs. He's going to back up here. There's another squad of units coming down here to reinforce. Storm is almost done. Yeah. We don't have any Colossi out that I can see.
No, I don't think so. +3 armor is also almost done to help out a little bit more here. Still 2-2 versus 1-1.
Okay, so he's just going to be dependent on Storm right now. He's not going to go for the Colossi for the time being. Now we do have Zealots warping in the upper right. Oh my God!
Wow. Actually forcing some drops there. Does get a decent Storm off, loses a medevac, or loses a Templar. A lot of Zealots charging in from the right side, but Maru's army had just the better composition with there's no area of effect. This Zealot, almost Zealot pure army is just kited repeatedly.
You can see Maru has the option to either push forward at the third here, or he can do an instant pickup and just dump them into the main, which would be very difficult because the Zealots, obviously, the units needed to sponge up damage can't get there. But Deer with this great Zealot harassment. That's not like the 11 Zealots that we saw sent in one direction that cost the zest, the game.
I mean, this is a bit annoying. Oh, where did that EMP come from? I guess there was a ghost on the other side of that rock. Nice EMP there, but Maru turns around for a little bit. This cost him a little bit of tempo, but he still has so many Marauders here. 24 Marauders on the map.
He's blinking back now. And this area here is very good for the Protoss. Nice Storms!
Great Storms here, and he's eliminating that Viking.
He's also using that Nexus there to soak up some damage as well, just so the Zealots can do a little bit more.
And there's just so much armor here in this Protoss army composition. Finally, that DT gets taken out, was doing some damage back at home. With all this armor on these Zealots, though, he's trying to push his Terran army back. The micro from Maru is so nice.
And now he has Colossi with that army again, right when there are no more Vikings left. Now, one by one, he's sending DTs over to Maru's base, which is very smart. The pylon's put out far enough that it's not ever going to be spotted, at least not in the heat of the battle like this.
Nice flank here, and now he's going to get that Colossus. Where's the AoE? It just got EMP'd. That's the answer to that question, and there's only Zealots left here. DT doing some damage at home, but he does scan it. Once the Archon is gone, he can actually kite the Zealot army almost indefinitely.
Oh, he's going to pick up and go into the main here.
Yeah, go in the main instead. Not a bad choice. And now he's actually got a great high ground position on these probes and the Zealots.
Oh, nice with the Nexus Cannon triggered over here. You know, it looks like Deer just barely is going to hold this. Let's see how much more damage this Marauder army does. No more as he picks up. Also note, well, I spoke too soon. I was going to say the fourth would be up here.
Gets one kill with that DT. Oh! That was close.
I didn't think he was going to get that.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Well, you know, Maru is stabilizing back here. The supplies are virtually the same. And you know what? Deer is going to get his fourth base up as well.
I feel like the upgrades really took their toll on Maru, but he is catching up. He's going to have +3 attack soon. He's going to need that armor to follow up as well. But the +1 shields is also on the way. It's going to help the Archons out. This fourth base is pretty important for both players, though. It's much harder for Deer to harass this because it's a planetary, and it has a turret there.
Yeah, anything else the Terran gets is going to be a planetary. You can't keep getting orbitals when you get farther and farther out of the map for reasons like we're seeing here. Zealot harass is just too easy to do. Another very convincing attack coming up here, this time from the front entrance.
Yeah, and it does lose that cannon.
Excuse me. I'm allergic to good games. Yeah. So
that's like the funniest thing I've ever said because it's so corny.
It's so corny. It's so not funny. It does like the full 180 and becomes funny again.
Yeah.
So he's splitting up his armies. He's going to drop over here at the fourth, and I think probably drop into the main.
Another TT coming over here. Don't think he sees it actually. It spots the army though, and it's probably not going to be enough to save this base. Probe's trying to help out as well. He's going to lose it.
Nice shot. Takes out the Nexus, picks up and leaves. And another attack over here on this Nexus.
He gets both Nexi.
Oh my god!
Maru is multitasking like a boss right now. He's just trying to eventually rip Deer apart. He's always less supply. He's got less army supply even too at this moment, but his army is more mobile. And he's just multitasking much better. So now it's basically one mining base for Deer versus about 2.5 for Maru right now.
A nice scan there. Vikings just they continue to be cranked out now. You know, the Colossi count is high, but I got to say, after losing those two Nexi, I mean, Protoss, first of all, can't leave his base, right?
Yeah.
Maru's already had now 2 additional bases up, and he can continue to stabilize from there. I got to say, I think Maru's in great shape, but since they're both so close to being maxed, there's still a possibility for Deer to come back. It seems like Maru actually wants to attack in here again and try to wipe this out.
Yeah, it's very important to continue to trade well for Maru because Deer, I mean, if Maru builds a bank from the extra bases he has right now, it's really, really not important compared to the Protoss having a bank because a Protoss can warp in a ton of units instantly, whereas a Terran still needs time. So if he loses one huge, big battle, then Deer might just kill him before he can reinforce, even if he does have a bank. So he really just wants to do 2 things, continue to poke like this and also try to build the best possible composition with the money he has. The best ratio of Ghosts and Vikings to deal with this AoE damage. There's so many High Templar on the map. How many is that? 9 High Templar. First one tanks.
About to be Templar, they're going to tank for the other one. Oddly enough, that's the one that lives.
Yeah, funny as it is.
Nexus cannon activated, but you know, the army could just get in here and shoot this down and
just
then
going to use it. Yeah, he's just going to tank it and then walk away. Probably run away.
Actually, I guess he wants to engage here.
A bit risky against this many Protoss
Well, he's got to be careful because the Vikings are so close together. The Archon's actually going to take a lot of them out.
But
and
now
it looks like one Colossus does remain, but it's then gunned down by the Marauders.
That one DT adding so much extra DPS here, and the Archon's doing some AoE as well. Tries to scan to kill it, does do so, but he loses a lot of his army in the process, but still, better economy.
He keeps trading armies right now.
Yeah, he has a better economy, so he's eventually going to outdo Deer if Deer doesn't win a fight.
Yeah, Deer needs to win a fight
And then
try to
counter,
push him
like-
back. Yeah, and then counter hard. Maybe not even at the planetary. Maybe actually at the third here.
Or go into the heart if he can win a fight that well, which is looking almost impossible right now. Maru just constantly having a solid economy with not only the additional bases, but he's got 60 harvesters. That's a lot of harvesters to have in this stage of the game. Keeps his army small, but he's keeping Deer's army small by just keeping it small while he's attacking. He's kiting the Zealots back. He's making every engagement very expensive for Deer, while he knows he's eliminating these Nexi, which means it's much more difficult for Deer to max. This DT is going to force another scan. If he keeps forcing scans, that's a little bit less mining as well. Let's see here.
This shouldn't be too effective, but he can just pick this up again.
I mean, getting an extractor is, or assimilator is okay. If he gets
Yes.
this Nexus, that is huge. That might be almost game deciding if he loses this Nexus
also
again.
just the Templars that are going to be taken out here.
Yeah, he's going to lose the Nexus and those Templar. And Maru just walks away
Right
again.
now, guys, Deer is just running out of air. I mean, he is going to dry up very quickly here. This expansion that he's trying to remake, by the way, doesn't even have that many minerals. He's almost spending his entire income remaking the expansion over and over again. Well, not his entire income, the income from where that expansion would be, I should say. Oh! Damn.
Saves it. Man, now he's going to kite against his Zealots again. Oh, trying to trap them!
Look out!
Well, now they're cut off from that army. And those Zealots are all going to die.
Yeah, they're going to be completely cleaned up. Let's see if he actually drops in here again.
I think he should try to drop like the main base or something instead. Well, he's just breaking all the way around here. EMP is down.
Maru's basically done it.
I think this game has run its course.
Yep, he's done it. He's done very nicely.
Terran just trying to, or rather Maru trying to assert that he is the best Terran player in the world right now.
I gotta say, Deer's done a pretty good job of hanging on, but this is basically the end of the story. With the fourth base being hit so hard right now, and he's actually targeting the Nexus there.
Yeah.
So that will be picked off. You gotta look at the Protoss' money, by the way. The Protoss doesn't have enough money to even make another Nexus right now, and his income isn't going up that much quicker. Mothership core gun down. The few remaining gas-heavy units like the Archons are being picked off. Then he's gonna get all the way back over here. Then I've lost count of how many Nexuses have been force canceled here or killed off.
Well, too many is the answer. Zealot gets dropped down out of there. GG.
On to game number 3 on the map of Deer's Choice.
Maru playing a solid game there.
Yeah, he really is.
This is what happens if the rest distance isn't too far that he can't reinforce. Like if he has a map that's small enough where his units just reinforce quickly enough, he does so well. On heavy rain, he just did not stop reinforcing both series. And eventually, if he kills a Nexus enough times, Deer doesn't have enough money to hold these very cheap units back. While he's killing the Colossi, he's killing the Templar and the Nexi, Deer's like, I gotta make high Templar and Colossi, those are expensive, and all your Mirages are very cheap, and you can produce them very easily off of those barracks. Our coach coming in here talking to Maru's like, I got this.
You gotta prove the game's fair, you gotta keep going. What map does Deer pick, I wonder?
I wonder too. Could see like Daedalus maybe.